Hello and welcome from all of us here at Metricom. Today, we're jumping into a really powerful tool for any business leader trying to figure out an uncertain future. We're talking about climate scenarios. Let's break down how you can use them to sharpen your strategic planning and build some serious real-world resilience.
This is the perfect place to start because it really hits on a huge misconception. When a lot of people hear climate scenarios, they kind of think of these vague, far-off forecasts that have nothing to do with their business today. But that's not what they're for, not at all. Okay, so here's the most crucial point, the big mindset shift we need to make. We have to stop thinking of scenarios as predictions. They're not crystal balls. They're decision tools. Their real job is to let you stress test your business strategy against a bunch of different, totally plausible futures. It's all about making smarter choices right now.
So why does this shift in thinking, from prediction to tool, why does that matter so much for your business? Why should you care if you see them as a fortune teller or, say, a really good wrench?
Well, it's pretty simple, actually. The world isn't static. If your entire strategy is built only for the market conditions and climate patterns of today, you are creating a massive, massive blind spot for tomorrow's risks. And look, these aren't some abstract, far-off things. Just think about it for a second. A sudden spike in energy prices, new carbon taxes hitting your industry, a key supplier getting knocked out by a flood. These are very real pressures that can hit your bottom line and completely change what your customers expect from you. So, how do you actually go about testing your strategy against all this? This is where we get into a really practical method for stress testing your business against whatever might be coming down the pike. This slide breaks it down beautifully into two fundamental types of risk. On one side, you've got what we call policy-driven risks. Think higher carbon costs or stricter regulations. And on the other side, you've got physical risks. What happens if policy action is slow and we see more intense heat waves, flooding, and major supply chain chaos? And let me just say it again. The goal here is not to guess which of these futures is going to happen. The real strategic value comes from understanding how your business holds up under both sets of pressures. A truly resilient strategy is one that can handle shocks coming from either direction. Using this approach lets you turn that kind of vague anxiety about the future into a list of super sharp operational questions. All of a sudden, you're not just worried about climate change in general, you're asking things like, which of our specific suppliers are located in high-risk flood zones? Or will this product line still be profitable if carbon taxes triple? See the difference? Okay, so let's dig into the how. How do you take this way of thinking and turn it into a concrete framework that actually builds up your organization's resilience and maybe even gives you a competitive advantage?
Right. So this kind of structured approach is designed to help you steer clear of two really common traps. The first one is strategic paralysis. Feeling so overwhelmed by all the uncertainty that you just do nothing. And the second is the opposite, wasting a ton of money by making these unfocused, scattershot investments without really knowing where your biggest risks are. So what does this framework actually look like in practice? It's a pretty simple three-step flow. First, you test your strategy against those different plausible futures. Second, you identify where you're most exposed, your material risks. And third, you use those insights to build a really focused plan of action. Test, identify, act. So what does a targeted action plan actually look like? Let's get really specific about how this analysis translates into actual, real-world business decisions. Well, for one thing, it can mean developing adaptation plans for your key physical locations. So if your analysis shows that a critical factory is in a high-risk flood zone in that severe physical impact scenario, you can start investing in protective measures now, before a disaster ever strikes. It also means looking beyond your own four walls. A targeted action could be a really thorough review of your whole supply chain. You identify and start working with suppliers who might be vulnerable to disruption, making sure your own operations don't just grind to a halt because of a problem somewhere else. And this is crucial. This isn't just some operational exercise. These insights have to feed back into your long-term capital planning. It helps you answer the big questions, like where to put investment for the biggest resilience payoff, and, just as important, where to avoid sinking money into assets that could become liabilities down the road. And the actions you can take are incredibly diverse, right? It could mean investing in a transition to new energy sources, or maybe redesigning a product for a low-carbon world, or even just having smarter conversations with your insurers to get better coverage because you're proactively managing your risk. All right, let's bring this all together. What's the ultimate takeaway here from using this kind of strategic foresight to navigate all this climate uncertainty? And this really brings us to the most important points of all. The whole purpose of this exercise isn't to perfectly predict the future. It's about making better, more robust decisions right now, today, in the face of all that uncertainty. And when you really think about it, this isn't some separate niche activity. It's simply the next evolution of smart, comprehensive business risk assessment. It's about being prepared, being proactive, and being strategic. So we'll leave you with this final question to think about. Is your current strategy built for just one possible future, or is it truly ready for many? The tools we've walked through today are how you can start to confidently answer yes to that question. Thanks for tuning in to this explainer.